And now, podcasting from the sun-scorched desert Southwest, weighing in at a combined total of 340 pounds, Brad Winchester, Tyler McDowell-Blanken, are Gimmick Infringement.
Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement Podcast. I am Brad Winchester, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell-Blanken. Tyler, it is Sunday, December 4th. We are inching closer and closer to the holiday season, and it is raining in Arizona. How are you today?
I'm blessed, Brad. You are so right. Somehow it's December already. Very gloomy where I'm at. It sounds like the same for you. I don't know about you, but we're not only getting some rain, but it's just gray.
Yeah,
outside.
overcast.
It was that way yesterday, same today. Similar for you and Miranda?
Yeah, and it's just been an absolute slow soaker. Like, everything is drenched. It's kind of awesome. We needed it. At least we needed it here. I needed it. Free car wash. Like, all of the things. It looks like December in Arizona. I don't know what else to say. I'm hoping that the rain lifts because I can't see the mountains right now, and I really want to know if there's snow on top. I have a feeling there will be, but I'm enjoying it while we have it because we don't get it very often, and this is going to go away, and then it'll be 85 degrees and sunny, and it's Christmas week, and it'll be weird. It'll always be weird having grown up in the snow.
Yeah, you'll go to the store and see dudes in shirts, shorts, and some flip-flops.
Yeah.
I just want the sun to pop out, Brad. I'm big
Yeah.
on the sun. We've been really spoiled. I've been really spoiled growing up in Arizona. Yesterday, the sun just did not come out at all.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm just gonna lounge around all day today. I kind of need, this sounds so silly, but I kind of need the sun in order for me to be productive. Does that sound weird?
No, not at all. Like, there's a reason that people get seasonal affective disorder. And the sun is one of those things. I guess I'll say it this way. When it's cloudy, I don't want to do anything. I don't necessarily need the sun to do stuff, but I don't want to do stuff if it's like this outside. And right now it's just this grayish, whitish, overcast thing. So really quickly, when I lived in Michigan, I lived in Marquette, Michigan, one of the cloudiest places in America throughout the year. And around October, it starts to get cold. October 30th, 31st, Halloween, it's probably snow pants, winter jacket, costume either over the top or underneath, and to go trick-or-treating, try not to die of the cold. And it's not always, but it's often. There's this cloud that will come off of Lake Superior and just sort of drift on shore and hover over the entire area for 6 to 8 months. Like, it'll go back over the lake and then come right back and then just dump just unbelievable amounts of snow, or it'll just stay cloudy for months. From October until May, it's cloudy, and it's almost every day, and there's a lot of precipitation. And while I do love parts of that, there's nothing better, in my opinion, than a nighttime walk in the snow with like really lightly falling snow, especially if you can go near a shoreline and listen to the waves sort of slop on shore because they're mostly frozen. Lake Superior doesn't entirely freeze. It's too big and too deep. And you get this like frozen shoreline with water underneath it kind of undulating the shore. So you get like wave sounds, but also kind of the ice breaking and snow drifts moving and stuff. And it's just really mesmerizing. I totally miss that. That being said, I don't miss that at all. I miss those sounds. I miss the walk. I don't miss sundown at 5 p.m. and sun up at 9:30 a.m. I don't miss that.
Yeah, that was the thing this past week. Maybe not 9:30 in Arizona, but the sun going down in a very pronounced way, like right after 5 is a thing now.
Yeah, the sunset's fast. It's like, oh, it's noon, cool, and then you walk around the block and come back, and you're like, it's dark.
Yeah,
it just happened. It's like the sun got thrown down.
When you start talking about bodies of water and snow, just seems like a whole other planet. It sounds lovely, but also I can understand why you relish in being in the desert now too.
Yeah, it's so much better. You don't have to shovel. You don't have to take care of it. I don't need a sand blower. I needed a snow blower. Like it's just
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
a thing. And at the same time, it has its own disadvantages as well as its advantages. Our winter is in the summer, where you go outside and burst into flames, or you got to play the hot potato game. The pull. Make sure your shirt is pulled all the way down before buckling the seatbelt, because if it gets stuck up a little bit, you're going to have a burn on your side. The tippity tap touch on the top of the steering wheel, just to check and see if it's touchable yet. There's a lot of,
if you're brave enough to have black interior,
yes.
If you have a vehicle and
black leather,
you're risking it for several months during the year. Well, Brad, speaking of things we relish in, I think it's time to talk about wrestling. We had a very noteworthy week and this past week, and then we have a lot happening in the week to come. So we're going to start with WWE. Obviously, last week we were graced with the presence of Mike Steph, which we so thoroughly enjoyed. This week we are returning to our usual format, and I have a first question here, WWE related, that I think is going to surprise you. Are you sure you're ready for this one?
I'm not sure.
Well, we're going to go ahead and jump into it, because that's what our show format says. No, you're going to be ready. I'm really excited. So WWE wise, NXT Deadline. Yes, we are starting with I guess it's the black and gold brand now, right? We can say that. Their newest premium live event is this weekend. The Iron Survivor Challenge match has been the talk of the NXT universe since being announced. And I want to focus on two superstars who are arguably the favorites to win, at least in my mind. I'll ask you your thoughts. Carmelo Hayes and Roxanne Perez. My question for you, what makes more sense for each of these two? Elevating them in NXT, so saying they do win at Deadline and thus they get moved into the main title scene, Roxanne Perez with Mandy Rose, Carmelo Hayes with Braun Breaker, or does it make more sense to move one or both of them to Mondays or Fridays on Raw or SmackDown? What do you think?
I don't think Roxy's ready for Raw or SmackDown. I think, Roxanne Perez. Roxy is so young.
She's so good. Young and so good.
She's incredible. If we were moving to AEW, I'd do it now, but WWE has their very specific ways of doing things. And I think more time learning that system is probably something that would benefit her more than it would Melo. So I would love to see her win and then be in that main title picture, just so she gets more promo time, more time in the ring, more time doing WWE things the WWE way. Melo's been there for a while now, and I think he's ready to just go up. I don't mind him losing. I'd like to see him win and then drop and then him go up. I'd rather see him on the main roster than Braun Breaker right now. Braun is still too one note for me. He's just this one flat thing. And I know that's kind of a WWE thing.
In terms of a character, right? Not necessarily his in-ring work.
No, his in-ring work is great. Yeah. His character is just sort of 80s. And
Mellow character-wise is definitely more fleshed out.
So much more dynamic. It's more fleshed
Trick
out.
Trick Williams is there too.
I think Melo has a history and a backstory, and Braun doesn't yet because he's specifically avoiding his history and his backstory. So he's got to develop his own.
Yeah, which is a story in and of itself, right?
Yes, exactly. So until he can flesh out his own story, and he's doing a great job of it right now, I don't really need to see him up there. So for me, Melo title picture, my guess is that Melo wins, takes the strap. He's the guy that takes it from Braun. He's the one that makes the most sense. And then Braun goes up, because he's a big dude that can be a legitimate threat on the main roster. But hopefully they have some things creatively for him to flesh out his character a little bit more. Roxanne Perez, I don't know. I want to see her in NXT for a little longer. She doesn't scream, get her up there right now to me, when the women's roster up there is already loaded and not using all of their talent. I'm not sure why it's almost been 300 days since Charlotte Flair has been in a ring.
Yeah, the fan base misses her now. I've heard a lot more. I've heard a lot more talk and seen a lot
Yeah.
more on the timeline about. You
Likewise.
know what? We kind of want Charlotte now. We need her star power back.
Well, I don't know if they would have been saying that if Sasha and Naomi were still there, but
Yeah, Sasha showed up at the Celtics game.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even know what's going on with Sasha. I don't know if you have a prediction on that, but I'm so surprised that she wasn't the headlining act of Survivor Series months ago when I realized it was going to be in Boston. I thought that was a no-brainer that Triple H is at the helm and Sasha returns to her hometown, gets a massive pop, and she'll be back. But I don't know, man. And we have Bow Wow now on AEW, and does that mean that Bow Wow brings in Sasha to face Jade? Is Sasha just going to go to Japan and work?
Sasha said she wanted to go to Japan a long time ago. She said she wants to work with people. I think it was on that the Broken Skull sessions actually that she wanted to work in Japan. But I don't know. She probably couldn't say she wanted to work with Japanese talent in AEW either. So there's always that possibility. But there's also for her, I think if she's coming back to the Fed, it's going to be at the Rumble, right? Like that's the biggest return. That's the biggest pop. Her and Charlotte returning in the same match would be enormous for the women's Rumble. That would inject life directly into that women's division. Because Lacey Evans is getting her 9th gimmick in a year.
I saw that video. Back to basics.
And then we have is Sarah Logan a draw? I don't want to see that. And
I don't think so. Do you think Roxanne Perez makes an appearance at the Rumble? Not to necessarily maybe be called up, but she makes an appearance. Maybe she's NXT champion by then, and
if she's champion by then, I think maybe. Okay. Otherwise, I think it'd be more likely that Toxic Attraction shows up to the Rumble.
Yeah, they're ready to move to Raw or SmackDown.
100%. But that tag division's a dumpster fire. So, I don't know. I could see them pulling all kinds of talent. Tegan Nox is back, and it depends on who's doing what and who's champ by then, and what the champs are doing for matches. Like Bianca's not going to be in the Rumble, but if Bianca drops at the Rumble and drops early, are they going to Brock her and have her go right into the Rumble and win the Rumble? Are they like Ronda? There's so many Ronda. There's so many people on that roster that they seem to be functioning as managers rather than wrestlers as part of their mini stables.
Shayna is who you're referencing.
Well, Shayna, and then Judgment Day. Lately, it's been Finn, and that's Finn or Rhea, and that's kind of been the Finn and Rhea show. And Priest is just sort of like this enforcer that's also there, and Dominic is there, and meh. And then you have the OC and AJ, but they've been kind of doing their own things, but together. So the OC acts like enforcers, like managers. I don't really get it. It's a lot of I think Triple H is trying to rekindle the Attitude Era a little bit, and I don't know who the best person to call up for all of this is if they're not going to get a real push. I don't think Roxanne gets called up and gets a push, but I could see Melo making a debut at the Rumble, and maybe that's his main roster time. What do you think?
Yeah, I've been predicting. I agree with you about Roxanne Perez. I actually think you'll be proud of me. I caught some of NXT this week. A lot of it, actually.
I was really scared you were going to say a name, and I was going to be like, I don't know who that
is. No. I got you. I saw the opening match, which was Indy Hartwell versus Roxanne Perez, and they went right into that. They didn't even have a promo to kick off the show. It was directly into that match, and I just sort of sat back and thought, well, of course, Indy Hartwell rules. I think Roxanne Perez, though, is just clearly the woman to take the belt off Mandy Rose. Like you said, to that end, I think she needs to have a proper reign as champion in NXT. So don't think she should be called up quite yet. In terms of Melo, I've incorrectly predicted him being called up several months in a row, Brad. I think he's going to stay in NXT until at least Rumble, maybe even until Mania season. Part of me, the NXT fan in me, does want to see Braun Breaker versus Carmelo Hayes for the NXT Championship, because those have been arguably the two guys since day one of then NXT 2.0. You could throw Tony D in there, but I think Melo and Braun are maybe just that tier above Tony D. So part of me wonders, well, man, is maybe that the Mania weekend match? Because that's the biggest match in the men's division you could put on is Hayes versus Breakker for the title, in my opinion. I just think he's going to stay in NXT. I agree with you that he's definitely ready to be on Mondays or Fridays and would bring a lot to probably to the mid-card division to start out. But I've just been so wrong about predicting that. Yeah, that was his last match in NXT. We're going to see him next week on Monday or Friday. I've been so wrong that I think I'm just not willing to be incorrect again. So I'm gonna say that both of them win at Deadline, and I'm just gonna call it. I really want the Braun versus Melo match. So I'm going to say both of these two win and they end up staying in NXT long.
So I have a question for you. This is not my question. That's next. What are they doing with Grimes?
Yeah.
He feels like an afterthought. And I thought he was ready to go up.
Me too. And I thought he was going to join the Joe Gacy, Ava Rain stable, the Smiley Jones, whatever schism. I thought he was
House
definitely.
Of Smiles.
Yeah, House of Smiles. That's actually much better than mine. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Grimes. He was such a foundational piece of NXT television for so long, particularly when he was carrying the $1 million belt and
was great.
That funny feud with LA Knight. And if you see LA Knight, dude is uber successful on the main roster.
Well, and his stuff with Dexter was great.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what's going on with Grimes. He's definitely someone who has contributed so much to NXT. I think he definitely needs to go to Raw or SmackDown. I don't know where he is though. I think he's healthy. Maybe this is just sort of a moot point for him storyline wise now. And to me, he could totally be someone we see in the Rumble. Maybe they're just holding off one more month until we see him make his debut there.
I hope so. I really like him.
Yeah,
so
great worker.
Here's my question for you. I hopefully you know where I'm leaning here. I leaned into your wants, your needs, your interests. So WWE has been on a bit of a kind of a hot, cold episode trend. It's like Raw is meh. But even Raw being meh is usually 10 times better than if you went a year ago, Raw being what it was. Man, pandemic Raw, oh, woof. Just the worst. That being said, when it has been hot, it has been incredible. Ricochet and Escobar gave us one of the best matches of the year in WWE TV. Anyway,
who won that match?
I believe it was Ricochet.
Was that? Hold on. Was that our friend here?
I had a feeling.
I meant to lead the episode with that and then pump fake you and go to my NXT question. I can't believe Ricochet won. Please continue. I am elated.
Well, it's NXT related. Was that match better than Ricochet's match with Melo?
Wow. Let me start by saying this question makes me so happy. This is my most favorite WWE question you've ever asked. I did not have this on my bingo card. I was not ready. They were so different. And part of me wants to lean Escobar versus Ricochet selfishly because Ricochet went over and now has the rematch against Gunther, a match we saw live, by the way, in Tucson, which ruled. Mm-hmm. But in NXT, obviously, his purpose for being there was to elevate Melo. You know what? I'm going to say the NXT match was better, in large part because I thought the crowd was much more invested in Melo versus Ricochet. It opened that event. I forget which event it was now. I know it was a PLD, though. It opened that event. The crowd was hot for it. They knew what they were signing up for, just aerial spot city. And I had a more enjoyable time watching that match because of the crowd reacting to it. I thought on SmackDown, those guys were just giving their all, and the crowd seemed rather, I guess, laissez-faire about it, for lack of a better term. So I'm rolling Melo Ricochet, but man, Ricochet and Escobar, to no one's surprise, put on an absolutely fantastic match, and I was very satisfied at the outcome. How about you, though? What do you think? Are you leaning SmackDown?
It was Worlds Collide. And yes, I really had a hard time with this one. That's why I thought this would be a good one to ask, because I feel like those are two potential contenders for match of the year in WWE. There were other bigger moments in matches. Like I loved the last man standing match with Roman and Brock. There were a couple of other ones in there that I thought were Cody and Seth and Hell in a Cell. Like that match has to be considered for overall, right? Like, dude wrestled with a clearly injured pec, just shredded up, and they worked it. It was amazing. So I think I'm going to go the Escobar match only because I loved some of the spots so much in it, especially on the barricade, and yeah, that crowd was ass. That crowd the whole night was pretty terrible, and to me, it's one of two things, or three. The venue for NXT is much smaller, so smaller crowds sound much louder. Two, they didn't have the mics set up appropriately. And I know they had to kill the mic for what I think it was that Survivor Series when people were chanting, "We want Sasha." And they decided to deaden the mics and just cut the crowd noise entirely and put in like a dull nothing. So maybe their mics weren't set up to pick up the crowd noise. Maybe the crowd was hot, but we couldn't hear it. Or the WWE audience has been so conditioned not to care about good in-ring wrestling that they don't appreciate good in-ring wrestling. Like that was an incredible match between two of the best in the world. And they didn't really seem to care because there wasn't a monster of all monsters roaring at us, or a 7-foot giant, or somebody that's just absolute Beef Jones. Like, we don't have any of that out there. We have two unbelievable athletes putting on like an incredible 5-star show, and people just going, like, are you nuts? The match had stakes. The Mellow match had stakes, but this
that's
one
why
had
I'm not
stakes.
mad at what you said, because yeah, this one had stakes, unlike Mello versus Ricochet, which is just, who's better, which I'm here for, but when you're fighting for the World Cup, that's something more tangible that I can get invested in.
And I'm fine. That is stakes. It's like, who's better? Those are stakes, but it's not Ricochet holding a cup.
Right.
And getting a future match. And I think I have a hard time with that audience, because that match was art. Like, it was so good. Both of them were good, but yeah. Ricochet doesn't have bad matches.
I would tend to agree on that one. And seeing them on social media, on Twitter in particular, kind of play into their history in Lucha Underground.
Yes.
Just made me so happy. You and I, we've alluded to on previous episodes of GI, we are Lucha Underground fans. So them tapping into that on social media to promote the match just made my heart so happy. And might I add, Brad, as much of a Ricochet mark as I clearly am, I am so stoked that Santos Escobar is getting this prominent run. Him and his stablemates in Legado, that they're a prominent part of SmackDown right now. I hope that continues. I have faith, given who's leading the ship, that will happen. I think this dude is just uber talented and can really, hopefully, tap into a market or a segment of the fan base that I think goes overlooked sometimes. We have Rey Mysterio in WWE, but other than that, who are the really prominent Mexican wrestlers that are consistently promoted on the show? Maybe I'm forgetting someone clear, but it seems like Rey is there. Although I'm not loving the House of Black Rey continuing feud, other than the Thanksgiving video that we talked about last week, posted online. That was kind of funny. But other than Rey, and again, let me know if I'm just totally drawing a blank. This is totally organic. Other than Rey, I feel like there's a huge part of the fan base that is just waiting for that next new star to be built in the men's or women's division. To me, Santos and company can be huge for this company.
I agree with you. I also think they're waiting for Cody to come back, because this is a Cody that they didn't get to see. This is a Cody that was in AEW, and this is a Cody we don't really know what to expect with him. So we're finally getting Triple H's direction for Becky, and it's like, why would you change the man character at all when it was so over? And now we're getting that back with a little bit of big time Bex mixed in, which I'm loving.
Yeah, she was so huge. What the man at its height, not that long ago,
biggest thing in wrestling at that point.
Otherworldly, really. Yeah. It was. I think we're gonna look back on that and just really recognize how special it was.
A quick sidebar. I did watch The Rock or Young Rock, excuse me. We're almost all the way caught up now through season 3 because there's not like a ton of episodes per season. And Becky was great as Cyndi Lauper. Was really great. Really enjoyed that. I saw somebody talking online about it, and they did a video thing about it, about how great she was. And I was like, why would you record this? It seems weird, but here we are talking about it. So maybe that's what happened. But I wanted to know for myself, and I was like, holy crap, she had her down. She was really, really good. Sorry for cutting this mini promo here, because Tyler, I know it's now time for you to cut a promo. We are ready for something we haven't had in a while. Tyler, it's time for promo of the week.
And now, the promo of the week.
I must confess, this has been in the works for several weeks. We just haven't had the right time. I guess I haven't had the right time or right moment to fully share this with you. But you're absolutely right, Brad. I must cut a promo on the business office at work, at the shoot job. I will start by saying everyone there is very nice and seems so great at what they do. It's more the philosophy of what's going down. So, but my promo, some background, is that recently I organized an event. So I work at the university, and I organized an event for local high school students who are interested in becoming teachers to basically spend a day on campus. So they'll receive a campus tour, they'll look at the dorms, they will, have a few different workshops. It was super joyous, and I felt really honored to be in a role where I can, talk with kids who want to enter the profession. So that seems all positive. Where it's not positive is I had to order pizzas for this event. So I was total P Card Jones. I've used the purchasing card before, as have you. Possibly some of our listeners have as well. I find the process to be very stressful when you're in charge of other people's money. I just really want to get it right when I do that. So it's been a few years since I've used the P card, admittedly, but I had to do it right. I had to buy some pizzas. So I called Domino's several days before. Ron ends up being our delivery driver. Really good dude. I end up finding a cart randomly to wheel like 13 pies to our area, our ballroom. And Domino's told me I was preparing for this order to be like $261 and change. When my man Ron arrived, he had a receipt to give me. And again, I'm rushing. I'm like a one-man show trying to organize a lot of this. And the receipt he gives me that I'm filling out is only for $216 and change. Again, it's supposed to be for $261, ends up being $216. So my promo here is all about the tip that I left Ron. I was preparing for the $261. I was preparing to write, I think it was like a $40 or $45 tip. So pretty generous. Definitely more. I'm definitely more of on the 20% end of things than like 15. So I had in my mind 45 for so long that when the bill came for $216, which now included coupons, I was not ready and I wasn't able to do the math efficiently enough in my head. So fast forward the next day, and I'm feeling really guilty about leaving this tip. So I ended up providing it to the business office, and they let me know that, hey, you were definitely too generous on this tip. You left a $45 tip on a like $199 tab, and then plus tax $216. So this is where it gets juicy, Brad. Thank you for hanging with me. So they let me know, okay, well, yeah, you were too generous, but the university may grant you an exemption. We will see. I will let you know. I don't hear from them for about a week. So I'm thinking, oh my gosh, thank the Lord. I'm in the clear. I'm not in trouble. We good. We're moving on. A week and change passes by, and I receive another email that says, hello, insert my name. Hello, Tyler. We've confirmed you do owe the university. You owe them $1.61. We can accept this in the form of cash or check. You let us know what's convenient for you. First of all, none of this is convenient. I totally, I knew this was going to happen, and I honor that I was in the wrong, right? Number one, I think I've grown to the point where I can first recognize if I'm wrong, let me admit that. But I'm also going to make an excuse that but it's just it's a very humble reminder that we can hopefully, best case scenario, really enjoy where we work most days, but also that will put you in your place sometimes too. So I ended up paying my 161. I want to ask you though, how do you think I paid this debt I owed my employer? Do you think I went cash, check, something nefarious? What do you think I did?
It's a good question. I'm trying to think how you would have gone about this, because I know for you would have gone convenience for you, but because this was something done to you, and I know
a moral issue at this point,
you don't have you have a very well hidden petty side that I don't know that people have
yes.
have had the pleasure to see of seeing this thing.
Yes,
I know. I don't know what you went with, but whatever was maximum inconvenient for the university is what you probably did. Did you get like did you go and buy a Western Union money order, or was it a check? If you even can find your checks.
Yeah, great Western Union reference.
My guess it was cash, but not exact.
Yeah. Let me start by saying you know me all too well. That was very scary. Scary accurate, your description of me. So thanks for that. I went with all coins, actually.
Yes.
So all coins. I had it in a Ziploc bag. And fortunately, this is end of the promo. Fortunately for me, when I went up there, I went with my colleague who listens to the show. Actually, he knows who he is. Shout out to him. I guess he was kind of joining me for moral support. Again, the employees in the business office are all genuinely super nice. So I go up to the third floor, ready to pay my debt to them, and the door is closed. And I think they're out of the office or at some sort of retreat. There are like 5 people who share the space. It's kind of creepy. And so luckily, man, this was super easy. I just had to put it in this person's mailbox. I wrote a sticky note, and I was good. I didn't have to get the interaction of like, hey, I'm petty. Here's my debt to you. Didn't have to do that, Brad. I got to be petty in a very seamless, covert way, which is ideal. That's my favorite way to be petty. So I paid my 161. I no longer owe the university. I will be frugal Jones when it comes to tips for large amounts of pizzas moving forward. And I feel great. My conscience is clear.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's exactly what I thought. I'm writing some notes here. I
161. I help bring in students to the university who will contribute much more than that in tuition, but 161 for some pizzas.
So you and I talked about this. You told me when it initially happened that so peek behind the curtain here. I didn't know what the outcome was because we never got there. It was like I'm waiting to hear back was the last I heard about whether or not I owe money or whatever. And it turns out you did owe $1.61.
They couldn't cover it for me.
Yeah, that's GI money right there too.
That's GI earnings for the year. Absolutely.
Yes. I'll make sure that you get that. I'll Zelle you the cash to cover. Yeah, man, I don't have anything to add. That was amazing. I miss promo of the week. I like promo of the week.
Me too. Yeah.
We tend to cut promos on this program a lot that aren't promo of the week material. They're just promos.
Yeah. And we have promos in our separate conversations.
Yeah.
During the week before we record. Yes. There's a lot of material that hasn't seen the light of day yet, which is probably a good thing because we like to be gainfully employed and we like having friends as well. So
yes, I'd like to keep the things that make me known to be a bad person, things that I've said about people. I may have called somebody a land monster last week in a private conversation. I enjoy not having that out there about me because I am in fact a very bad person. Tyler, what's not very bad is AEW. Well, most of it. I'm ready for the AEW question.
Yeah, man, let's roll into it. So AEW, obviously we spoke last week with Mike about it and some of the concerns he has about the current product, which are totally fair. And if you haven't listened to that Mike Stuff interview, definitely check it out. But Brad, there was a lot of positive this week, I thought, in AEW. I know Rampage continues to be, let's just say, missable TV. Although the House of Black is back, which we didn't really talk about last week. But
a huge match was announced, and it was on Rampage.
Yes. But my question is going to revolve around Dynamite. I think, unlike WWE, you are probably expecting this one from me. So let's just roll into it.
Let's go.
MJF's reign of terror has begun. Brad, we saw AEW World Champion Maxwell Jacob Friedman deliver his first Dynamite promo as champ. However, fans aren't discussing so much as what Max said, but rather what he did. He laid out William Regal. Reports all over the timeline are speculating. Great sell by Regal as well. That was fantastic. Reports all over the timeline are speculating that William Regal's contract is done with AEW, and he's likely WWE bound. Question: if this is the case, which certainly seems that way, how will you remember Regal's time in AEW? And where does the Blackpool Combat Club go from here?
I mean, if Regal's gone, the Blackpool Combat Club wasn't even supposed to last very long. It was supposed to be like a one-off thing, or it was supposed to be Brian and Mox wrestling, and then it became a thing. And I think it's done. I think it's done entirely. Claudio is clearly frustrated. Yuta's leaving. I don't know that Yuta needs it anymore anyway. I feel like he's built himself enough credibility where he can stand on his own. They're just not booking him right now. He had his thing with Max, and it's kind of been it since then. Garcia stuff right afterward. So the way that I remember Regal is somebody that came in to help build all these other stars, gave a stable credibility right away, and we got to see him be himself. We got to see him be real and authentic, and I loved his character in here. Now, I saw a report this morning saying that some people say that he didn't like management, the maturity of management at the company, which sounded like a friend of a friend of a friend said it. And that his deal may be up, that it was a 9-month deal. That seems unlikely. And some people are saying it's a 3-year deal. I think Regal's staying. I don't think he's going to go back. Not just yet. I think he will, or maybe he asked to go back. Maybe he was like, hey, Triple H is back there. I think I can bring something. Triple H tweeted the William Regal stuff before War Games. He said it just doesn't seem right, or it seems appropriate to do this, whatever he said, but he wanted to give that nod to Regal. His legacy, forgettable. Like next year, are you going to remember he was in the company? People are already forgetting about CM Punk. Like, nobody's screaming in the streets for Miro. And I don't know why Jeff Jarrett's on my screen wrestling and not Miro.
I think I know one person who is, and it's my tag partner who I'm speaking with here.
What are your thoughts, man? Like, I don't. Yeah. It's complicated with Regal because he didn't really. I'm gonna. The thing that I'll remember the most is commentary.
Excalibur and Regal,
yes.
a love story. Yeah, it's funny you bring that up. I totally agree with you there. I was Googling this just a moment ago to make sure I got the date correct. So Brian Danielson and John Moxley faced each other at Revolution earlier this year, which was only March 6th. That was the debut of Regal. You and I popped for him coming out at the end of the match, and thus, the Blackpool Combat Club started to form. So Regal's only been there on screen since March. I have the same feelings you do about really enjoying the Blackpool Combat Club, enjoying Regal's work with Excalibur. I think Wheeler Yuta has been totally propelled to a new level, in large part due to William Regal on screen. Yeah. I'm a bit concerned at where Wheeler Yuta is now. I wish I were more excited for Garcia versus Yuta at Final Battle.
I forgot it was happening.
Right, which we'll get into later. But if you consider where Wheeler was over the summer, Brad, we were dedicating time on this podcast to Wheeler Yuta and how awesome he is, I should say, not past tense, but I think his legacy is going to be intertwined with the rise of Wheeler Yuta and how much Regal did on screen and probably off screen to help elevate him into a major player in AEW. I'm just kind of sad. I would imagine he'll probably have some role in NXT if he were to go back there, which would be great because, as we know, I'd like to support NXT. But in my mind, there's so much more for Regal to do in AEW. Maybe that's unfair, but the Blackpool Combat Club has just feuded with Jericho Appreciation Society. And because they're for forever, yes, and because they seem to be dissolving right in front of our very eyes, this is not an original point by me. I know Alex Pulowski of Fightful made this, but it really resonated when he said this past week that this in canon means that Jericho Appreciation Society won the feud because they're still obviously a faction seemingly going strong. Meanwhile, Blackpool Combat Club is probably going their separate ways. So I don't know. I really thought MJF and Regal as a pair had a lot to do together.
Yeah, I was shocked by this.
Yeah, if this is in fact it, I just kind of worry that there was a lot more left to do here storyline wise. But to your point, we don't know the contract situation. We know of Regal's affinity for Triple H and vice versa. And of course, Regal would rule going back to WWE. I just, as the AEW fan in me, was just hoping that we would get more from Regal and Max storyline wise. I was even hoping we would see him in February, Brad, when we go to the Footprint Center to see Dynamite for AEW's Arizona debut. I was hoping we may get our lordship there in person, but I doubt that's going to happen.
Yeah, I hope it's going to happen. I hope it still does happen. I hope he sticks around, and I hope this is just part of the story. But it felt a little bit like Allie being murdered in Impact to come over as the bunny. So I don't know. It seems like if people leave for the WWE, they are killed off or injured in some horrific way, where in the WWE, people just sort of leave. They don't have to kill them off. And that's always struck me as like an indie move. And that's sort of what they did here. Because it's like by punching Regal in the back of the neck, like I thought that was a brilliant move. I love it. I hope he comes back. Maybe he just needed time off. Maybe he's been working straight. He's not exactly a picture of health. So I think, man, I have a lot of thoughts on this and I don't know what to make out of it. I just hope we get to see him in AEW because I know if he goes to NXT, we're just not going to see him as a character. We'll see him as a manager every once in a while coming out like Adam Pearce. And that'll be kind of it, which that's fine, I guess. But I want to see more than that because I love the guy so much for what he's done in WWE and in WCW specifically. I hated that guy. I hated that character. He's one of the most detestable characters. Like he was always so good. He was beating my favorites. But he was just like that sneer on his face. Just everything about him. He was such a great bad guy. And I think he has a lot to offer. And I think he could help AEW probably more than he can help in WWE.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. I think he's going to be successful wherever he goes, whether he stays or heads to WWE. Or like you said, this man has lived quite the life. He's had an awesome career. Maybe he just rides off into the sunset. And yeah, that if that makes him happy, I totally support it.
And what makes me happy, Tyler, was Darby Allin. It's time for my question. Juice Robinson got a video package this week to set up his match against Samoa Joe at Final Battle for the ROH Television Championship. Darby Allin also got a video package this week for a TNT title shot against Samoa Joe. So obviously they're either trying to show us that Joe is a fighting champion or they're making up for all that time he was gone away filming. I don't know which. I also don't know what to make of all of this Samoa Joe stuff. Tyler, is this good? Is this bad? Or is this somewhere in between for booking with Samoa Joe?
He's the king of television, as we know now. That is an elite, I guess maybe I shouldn't say elite, but that's a baller nickname. I really like that. He is working very hard these days, Brad.
Yes.
I think it's good. I'm not ready to say it's bad whatsoever. I'm still pretty surprised that he beat Wardlow and Hobbs to become the dual champion. That was a nice surprise on the Full Gear card for me. Don't think it's bad yet. Juice Robinson, I'm admittedly not as up on Japan as I should be, as a lot of people I speak with are. Like
Tony Storm's husband.
I was gonna say he does have impeccable taste.
Yes.
Let's make sure we.
Yeah.
Let me start by saying that his taste is impeccable. Love Tony Storm. But Juice doesn't really do it for me in the ring. I remember him as CJ Parker in NXT, but the appearances he's had on AEW TV, I believe he fought Mox once, and there was probably another match I'm forgetting. It hasn't really done anything for me.
Okay.
I don't see it. But again, I'm not as hip to him as others. So I'm not super stoked for the final battle match. I am way more excited for Darby versus Joe on Dynamite. I think their styles, I don't know if they've wrestled before, but I think their styles are going to mesh perfectly. So it's not, perhaps that Joe's reign so far, or what it seems they have for him, is not my favorite thing on AEW television, but I also don't hate it either. I don't think it's bad. I think we really need to see where they're going with this character, because I'm really intrigued at the possibility of Wardlow and Hobbs coming back for Joe and his titles. And if ROH is going to land some sort of TV or streaming deal, Samoa Joe being on the poster, being a key figure in ROH, I think is going to be huge and could just be a great look for them. So it's not my favorite thing on AEW TV right now, but I also don't think it's bad whatsoever. I think this has a lot of potential. And frankly, Brad, as two Samoa Joe fans, my intuition is telling me this could be his last. I don't want to sound too fatalistic or put him into early retirement, but we know he has a lot of mileage on him. Maybe this is one of the last prominent title reigns that Joe has. And if that's the case, I really want to embrace it and watch every match I can, because we think he's awesome.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm going to say it's somewhere in between. I don't think it's bad, but I don't like that the two television championships are held by the same person, because we have a ROH television championship being held by a guy on AEW television, not ROH television. And it's hard to tell what he's defending. We had two different video packages setting up matches with the same guy for different places. It was like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
Really, yeah. I don't care about the belt, and I don't care about the matches nearly.
You don't care about either belt or ROH specifically?
I don't care about either one of them. Like, both of them are garbage right now. Like, the ROH television championship shouldn't exist. There is no ROH television. Like, I don't even know why it's a thing. Like, put it in storage until it's ready. Like, it's just stupid. But we know better, because ROH is now AEW, and AEW has been co-opted by Ring of Honor, and it's like slowly becoming as engaging and engrossing as ROH television was right before they shut down because they had to sell the company. Like, it's like just bad. I hate this merger of the two things. Separate the damn.
You're not
things.
alone.
Like, make it make sense, and then I want to see Samoa Joe and Darby, and I know it's an open challenge and all that. Like, Darby's not going to win. Darby's going to be killed by Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
Like, maybe the match ends in a draw because one of the other two dudes jumps out and beats the piss out of Samoa Joe outside the ring. Maybe Wardlow comes back for vengeance. Maybe Hobbs comes in there and costs Darby a match, and that sets up a Hobbs-Darby match, which then sets up a Hobbs-Samoa Joe match eventually, and Hobbs wins the title at Revolution or something, or at Winter is Coming. Who knows? I would love to see that. That would be great. Also, I don't know why I should care about this Ring of Honor thing. Like, we got a video package to set up that match. Why do I care? I'm looking at it like the Jericho Claudio thing's been set up for a couple weeks. I know we're going to go over the card, but specifically Samoa Joe versus Juice Robinson, everything's just been sort of cobbled together, and it's like, we're not sure what to do with the pure championship, so let's just have it be Garcia and Yuta again. I don't know, man. there's some of it's been really good and some of it's been really bad, but all of it's been on AEW TV, and I want it off my TV when there are people that I love in the company that I'm never seeing on television.
And I think again we're speaking about Miro. If the reports are true that he's healthy and ready, it's just continues to be mystifying that there's not a role for this guy. I mean, Brad, you and I probably, I would say every other month, somehow, some way, bring up on this show how much we loved Miro's TNT title reign. Do you remember how we just perceived the TNT title when he had it? It felt like it mattered so much, and it was must see TV. Even if we knew he was going to squash someone, we still had to see it. We had to see where his character was going and where the belt was going by proxy. Not only do I miss Miro, but I am kind of yearning for the TNT title to get back to that level of prominence. It just, to me, it seems like it's been so snake bitten since Miro, Cody, months and months ago, springtime even.
Yeah, I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at Dark. Going, Brian Cage wrestled Tony Deppen, and then there's some other stuff. Here's the thing that I keep seeing on here. When's the last time you saw an Angelico match on AEW TV?
I could probably when he was with Jack Evans, and Jack Evans isn't even with the company anymore.
The fact that he's not on AEW TV when he's putting on great shows every time he's in the ring is weird. I know his character needs work, but like, my God, why isn't that guy? Why am I watching these other people wrestle? Why is this happening? Even the Wingmen would be a great addition to the tag division. I think it would be a lot of fun. I think they're entertaining as heck. I know there's other people. I saw there was an elevation match. I think it was Ashita this week was wrestling. I know she was in Dark. How is Sheeta on Dark and not on AEW television? There are just so many people that I would rather see. We had Kingston and Ortiz wrestled Solo and Camarado. What? I just, why do I have to go down my way? Let's see. Maki Ito and Emi Sakura, which fun pairing there, against Nyla Rose and Marina Shafir. I mean, we know who's going to win that match, but I don't care. Takeshita wrestled. Davari, actually. We had Lee Moriarty against Robert Anthony, so that's whatever. Jay Lethal and Satnam Singh against Joe Alonzo. We knew that doesn't matter. And then there were a couple of other things. We had Athena wrestling. That was fun. Trying to see here. Best Friends wrestled some jobbers here. Yabo the Clown, who the hell that is. Eddie Kingston and Ortiz versus Solo and Camarado. And then I think that was main evented.
Makes sense.
And that's a main event Rampage match at this point.
Yeah.
Like, the opening match of Rampage is usually the best part about the whole show.
Right. And then this week, Cole Carter versus Darby Allin. I'm just not really invested in that. I'm not just meaning to rag on the factory, but it seems like they've been a really prominent part of AEW television recently, which
I don't give a shit
I did
about
not
them.
expect. Yeah, no, not at all.
No, there's like no disrespect to the wrestlers. I just don't give a shit about seeing that on my screen. Like,
yeah,
why would I want
in the
to
main
see
event
this?
segment?
Yeah,
to be destroyed by House of Black. In fairness, but yes,
yeah, I get it, but I don't want to see it. Like, it's just it's not for me. I know you got to build new stars, but you can't build new stars by doing what they did with Rocky Maivia. Like, you can't just shove them down our throats and expect us to like it. Like, I don't understand Nick Camarado anymore. Why did he drop that gimmick? Was it not working? Because I loved it.
Yeah.
And now he's like Diet Tony D'Angelo. Whatever.
And I thought he was kind of, I texted you this. I thought he was kind of neutered at the beginning of the match with Darby, where it's like, no, I thought this dude was kind of a low key killer a year ago. And now he's just a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I would do it differently, but all right.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I have so many question marks about like, what are they doing in there? Mm-hmm. I've so 180'd on the WWE AEW stuff.
You have, yes.
I love the talent. Like I said last week, Darby can have a great match with somebody. I just need to care about that person he's wrestling, and I haven't for 2 straight weeks. Darby might be the one building stars, but Darby still needs to have his star built. He was TNT champion and he's hugely over in the company, but he hasn't done anything since he dropped it like 2 years ago.
I think Darby is kind of a great microcosm of where AEW is at as a whole for me right now, in terms of, we love Darby. I think he's unique and special, and he's fun to watch. But yeah, Brad, his character has just been, again, we know he's going to fight. We know he's going to have a tag match with Sting at the pay-per-view, but that's about it. We don't really know his direction or his story, or it's just, for a year, it seems like it's been the same story of, I'm going to partner with Sting at the big show, and in between then I'll have an occasional feud that is just sort of meh.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is that I'm more looking forward to seeing Sting in the ring while we still have him in the ring than I am Darby. And I love watching Darby. But if I'm more looking forward to Sting, what does that say about what's going on with Darby? And because I want to see him shoot that absolute missile at somebody
every time.
You know it'll happen
every time,
and it's amazing every time.
It is.
I'm with Darby in his interview. I think it was on the Sessions with Renee. I'm pretty sure it was.
Oh, I missed that. Okay. I saw her interview with Stokely Hathaway.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah.
That was great. I think it was on the Sessions. It was on something recently, either Talk is Jericho or the Sessions, and the Sessions seems more likely. Let's see if I can find it here. It was several weeks ago, and I might have already deleted it because I listened to the whole thing. So
yeah, responsible phone user. I like it.
Yeah, it was October 20th. Darby Allin was on there, but he said like he realized that sometimes you just got to disappear for a while, because like Hangman was gone for a while and he came back and the huge pop and the crowd was super invested, and we got that again. That was Wednesday, right?
Yeah, that was what a year in wrestling. We'll get there later this month.
I can't wait.
Hangman is back at grudge match against Jon Moxley.
So he basically said he needs to disappear for a while. He's like to go away for like 2 or 3 months and just go off the grid entirely and have people not know where he is or what he's doing, and then just show back up. And
I think that's the benefit of AEW is they can rotate talent like that. But
yeah, they're doing that with Miro now.
Please.
Yeah.
Please.
My God. I'm absolutely fashioning a tweet. I'm actually looking forward to making the tweet. And Tyler, what are you looking forward to this week?
I was going to say, not only am I looking forward to this, but something that is amazing every single time is my favorite segment of our show. Someday when you have kids. Brad, please cue the music.
And now it's time for
I'm crazy.
Someday when you have kids.
You're crazy.
Tyler, this week was a milestone week. It is the decorating week for us, and not a lot of decorating got done. A lot of stuff got taken out of the garage and thrown on the floor. I know when I walk out here, I have to be cognizant, because I'm often thinking about the pod and what do I have to do and what are my next steps and yada yada yada. And I'm not going to see the garland and all of the breakable things that I could step on with my bare feet here. I'm wearing sweatpants and no socks right now. And I'm wearing a Joker Christmas tee that just got me. And I'm probably going to destroy my body on the way out here if I'm not paying attention, because we're getting ready. And Freya has had a rough week. Earlier in the week, she was super excited to decorate, get ready, but her mouth was really hurting her. She finally had loose teeth. Someday when you have kids, you'll get to see the glory and the pain. I do not remember the pain. I remember the satisfaction and kind of that like burning feeling when a tooth was coming out, that like it doesn't hurt. It doesn't feel good, but kind of feels good. It's like a incentive to get rid of it, right?
Of course. Yeah.
And Freya it just hurt. She kept forgetting they were loose, and she would bite on something and it would hurt, and she was bleeding a little bit, and I felt bad for the poor thing. And
yeah, poor girl.
I know. And she's been stuffy and kind of sick, and we're like, oh, it's definitely because of the tooth. It's not because she's been sick. Someday when you have kids and you have a baby, you'll understand teething. It's just like this. It's not city crying, uncomfortable, all of that stuff, all because teeth are coming in. It's weird. Well, anyway, yesterday morning, Freya said her tooth was really, really loose, and Jess went to see, and it just started sliding down her lip and down her face. Yeah, it was just gone.
Mick Foley, like.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. It just sort of fell out. And she was so happy and so excited. Her other one's loose too, but not ready yet. But she was so excited that her teeth came out, and she's finally like, "Hey, it doesn't hurt anymore when she bites something or whatever." So she's just so happy for that. But I sent you the picture. I sent Grandma Sherry the picture, my mom, and neither of you noticed the tooth thing. So I had to zoom in.
I know you were going to put me on blast, as you should. As you
nobody
should.
Did. My own mother didn't see it. So
she's so
and I know
cute
she was
that
looking
I
at it
was
on an iPad too. There's
overwhelmed.
no excuse there.
Yeah, I was overwhelmed by the cuteness. That's
It was adorable. It was in front of her little Christmas tree she got for her
Yes.
playroom. So the joy, the excitement, the fact that she fell asleep last night watching the movie with us and didn't put her tooth under the pillow for the tooth fairy. We're gonna have to do it tonight to make sure she remembers. Someday when you have kids, you'll get to experience this, because this is something that both made me really happy and both really sad, knowing that she's growing up. And then I have a long way to go with her, but it was both wonderful and a little bit alarming to know that, like, man, time's flying, and I only get that finite amount of time with her. But it's awesome, and I hope you get to have that someday when you have kids.
Yeah, she's the best. I can't believe it. I still, every once in a while, think back to when Jess was pregnant. We would have meetings at school, right, when we were working together. And when Jess was pregnant, and hearing from you, just how the process is going. And obviously when Freya was born, what is it like to have a newborn? And somehow, fast forward 5 years later, nearly, and we're talking about the Tooth Fairy and just reflecting on Freya growing up and kindergarten, and man, it's pretty unbelievable. That's really special. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for listening to that. I love talking about my kids. Sometimes I can get really carried away, but she's the best. She's the best. I don't know what else to say.
I don't know what her favorite color is. I think she told me, I asked you this, and your response popped me. I think her favorite color is now blue. It was purple for a while, and I memorized that. Any picture with her, purple emoji comment, purple heart emoji. But I'm pretty sure she told me in July that it's blue now. I asked you this for confirmation, and your response was wonderful. Who knows? It probably changes every day, right?
Yeah, it was red last week. It's been red before. It was probably blue because she went saw something blue and went blue. That's probably all that was.
I love it.
Blue is not my favorite color. Blue is my color, though. Blue and purple are my colors. For whatever reason they work. Green is not my color. I don't give a shit. It's Christmas season. So we're rocking the green. Blue, specifically Detroit Pistons. Blue.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Yeah.
We'll go with that. I do have my Pistons ugly sweater I get to rock. I gotta wait for the right day. Hopefully a W day.
Beautiful. Yeah, and I was gonna say they beat the Mavs this past week, so
yeah.
Hopefully their next big win sooner than later. It's
hopefully. Yeah, it's something to look forward to. And Tyler, what are you looking forward to this week?
Brett, I'm looking forward to being done with class. I submitted my final essay this past Friday evening. It was due at 11:59 p.m. I submitted it with a kind comment to my professor at 11:54. So and it wasn't like a stressful thing. I'd been working on it. I needed all of the time possible to use it. So please don't judge me on this, but I am free of class for at least a month and maybe some change. I am looking forward to just not having to worry about discussion posts or other assignments. I'm even privileged to have that as a worry, but I am looking forward to not having that. So this week, actually, I did not tell you this. This is going to be completely news to you. This week, Marana High School is visiting ASU. So I've been in touch with their early childhood teacher.
Wow.
I've not met her yet. I know she's relatively new, but we've been in contact for a few weeks, and she and 3 chaperones are going to be bringing about 40 Marana students to Tempe. So I'm going to meet them there, and we have a whole day planned out. Again, similar like campus tour, presentation from me, student panel, etc. No pizzas. They are in charge of their own lunch. I asked her if that was okay. She said that was okay. So they're in charge of their own lunch. They have a ton of options at our student union. So I don't need to worry about tipping anyone, but that's definitely the highlight this week is MHS is coming to town, and
Awesome.
she is going to send me a student roster. So I'm really eager to see how many, if any, kids I may know. So I'm really looking forward to Thursday for that.
Very
and obviously we have ROH Final Battle, which we'll get into shortly. We have NXT Deadline all on the same day on Saturday. So very, very stoked for that. How about you? How does this week look?
A lot like yours, except you are done. I am finishing. So this is my last week and then a long hiatus until the next class. I was telling you before we got on here how excited I am about my schedule and excited I am for these classes. If you would have asked me this when I was in other programs, my master's and my doctoral stuff, I probably would have said like, yeah, I have this coming up. I'm not really that excited about it, but things have changed for me. This is all really good. And I'm really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to being done with schoolwork, but I'm not looking forward to being done with this class because I love it so much. But yeah, that's it. It's another week of school. I just got to make it to the end, man. I do have some plans. We have some fun stuff in psychology this week that I'm looking forward to doing. Last week was also pretty fun. And then decorating, getting ready, wrapping gifts, finishing up, buying stuff, planning out the cookie menu. That I'm sure there will be some cookies on the way up to your area at some point. But trying to figure that out should be fun.
I'm so excited for that. So, Brad, final part of our episode here, ROH Final Battle is this weekend. And obviously, we spent a lot of time on NXT earlier, but for Final Battle, and we can certainly predict Deadline as well, maybe even after this really quickly. Final Battle from Texas, 5 matches as of our recording are listed for the card. And I want to know your prediction, so we'll just roll into it. Swerve in Our Glory versus Shane Taylor and JD Griffey. So Shane Taylor appeared on AEW television this week, I believe on Rampage actually, and he has a history with Keith Lee. So this match was set up. Who you got for this tag match?
I don't know. I don't care about any of these matches.
I was gonna say we could just go as a whole for ROH Final Battle instead of match by match. What are your impressions of this card and anything that matters to you here?
No, this card is ass. Like
okay, on to NXT. Yeah.
Jericho versus Claudio. Again, okay. Garcia versus Yuta. Again, okay. Mercedes Martinez versus Athena is probably the one that I'm most looking forward to because I know they're going to beat the shit out of each other. And Athena is probably going to win and take the belt. Joe and Juice. I don't care. Can't wait to see which TV champion emerges with no TV deal. And then we have Swerve in Our Glory. I think Swerve in Our Glory is probably going to win, but I don't know. I kind of feel like they're there to put over the other guys, especially if they're going to be ROH staples. But I don't know anything about them. Like I don't know anything about those two dudes in terms of like what their deals are and where they're going to be. Are they here part-time? Are they part of ROH? Are they just trying out? And this is where they, I don't really know. So they haven't built enough because it's ROH and they're in AEW. So I just don't, it's cool that the Swerve Shane Taylor stuff is going to happen. It's cool that the Keith Lee Shane Taylor stuff is going to happen. It's cool that it's happening and that they have history. I don't care about that history because they haven't given me a reason to care about that history. I'm there to watch AEW and unfortunately I'm there watching ROH and I'm going to be fine with that because once ROH launches, I'm going to watch ROH. I just don't like watching both poorly at the same time. So I guess Swerve in Our Glory or maybe the other ones and then they fight about it and I don't care. Like, there's going to be some great wrestling and it's going to be a really a ton of fun matches. I just don't care about any of them.
Yeah. It's, it's hard to blame you for this for all the reasons we listed today and in previous weeks regarding, AEW and ROH and how they're sharing space. This tag match is interesting though, because we know Swerve in Our Glory seems to be splitting up. Do they pick up the win? Do they need a win here? I'm going to say yes,
Yeah.
they do win. The rest of this card, Samoa Joe, I believe definitely beats Juice Robinson. Like you, I am actually really eager to see Mercedes Martinez versus Athena. I haven't committed to purchasing this pay-per-view yet, but I'm really eager to see Martinez versus Athena. I think this is going to be awesome. I think the Athena heel turn has been exactly what she needed.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, I think she walks away with gold. Garcia versus Yuta. I wish I were more excited for this. I think Garcia retains. I really think they fumbled Garcia. He was being built up to join BCC, and the crowd was chanting, "You're a wrestler." And
they put him back in Jazz, and then we haven't seen him since. Excuse me, Yaz.
I don't know. I'm just so curious about that. He, like Yuta, to me, has just the stock has really gone down to no fault of his own, just booking wise. Man, Garcia was a major player over summer, and now
they really screwed that up.
He kind of seems like an afterthought. I do think he beats Yuta here, and I'm sure the match will be great. The main event, wish I were more excited for it. To me, this reeks of Chris Jericho winning and Claudio joining JAS, probably forming a tag team, purple hats with Jake Hager. I wish I were more stoked for the main event. I think Jericho wins. And I don't know who the person is that's going to take the title off him, but I think we get the Ocho's reign lasting much, much longer. Definitely until they get a streaming or TV deal.
Yeah, totally with you. I like I said, I like this talent. I like the talents on here. I think they're all great. You know how much I love Jericho, and you know how much I love Swerve, and
Claudio,
obviously Keith Lee.
the perfect
Claudio's
wrestler.
Incredible. Yes. Garcia and Yuta, we've had shows about them. We both love Athena. Remember how hyped we were when she showed up, and even Mercedes and Samoa Joe. How can you not like Samoa Joe? Juice is like, he's a talented guy. I don't really care what happens here, but like, I think he's perfect for Ring of Honor to be a staple there. I think all of that stuff can be true. And also I don't care because I don't know what Swerve and Our Glory in a tag match in Ring of Honor is supposed to do storyline wise. Ultimately, they're here to tell stories, not just have wrestling matches, because I don't want it to be like just a fake sport. I know AEW leaned into we're going to treat it like a sport, but if it's just a sport, then there's no storyline, and I don't care, and I'm not invested. So that's where I am with this card. I don't really care. The storyline can't be something that died 3 years ago, and then you just bring it back in one video package and hope that we care.
Right.
Like it's got to be built over time. That's kind of what they did with that tag match. It's like, oh, remember when there were 10,000 people watching our show and we were going to do a thing, but we didn't? Now we are. That's the whole story, and that's fine. It's a story, but how many people were watching that or privy to that outside of Excalibur going, whoa, this all goes back to Ring of Honor 5 years ago? And that's kind of, okay, it does. Cool. That's great for Ring of Honor people. Why is this on my TV?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just so weird. Imagine WWE spending a bunch of time to advertise house shows. Like this weekend in Rochester, there's going to be at Sunday Stunner. There's going to be, well, I saw Seth do the Brody tribute at the house show event in Rochester.
Nice.
That was great. That's what I want to see. Imagine if they advertised like Lacey Evans versus, I don't know, Deborah Smithers, and that's like Lacey and Deborah have beef going back to the military days. Who gives a shit? Like, I don't want that on my TV. Get that out of here.
Yeah.
I know you have 3 hours to fill and you do it poorly sometimes, but by God, man, like, tell me a story. One that's not involving Judgment Day and the OC with AJ Styles, please.
That would be ideal. Speaking of WWE, before we get out of here officially, Brad, NXT Deadline, currently there are only 3 matches officially listed, probably getting I believe a Creed's match defending their titles. But the 3 matches we have are the men's and women's Iron Survivor Challenge and then the NXT Championship. So quickly, I got to get an official prediction from you. Men's Iron Survivor Challenge, currently listed as Carmelo Hayes versus JD McDonough versus Grayson Waller versus Joe Gacy versus wildcard winner. And then for the women's match, Zoe Stark versus Cora Jade versus Roxanne Perez versus Kiana James versus a 5th wildcard. Currently, are you predicting both Mello and Roxanne to walk away or no?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
picking them both. I think looking at the list for the men's match, Mello and Waller are the only two that I can legitimately see winning those matches.
Yeah, wild
Just-
card. You never maybe Tony
Whoever the
D's
wild
something,
card,
maybe
yeah,
not.
yeah, or maybe Dijak.
Yeah, he's
If
bringing his
it's
brand of justice to.
yeah,
NXT.
if he shows up, then yes, I'd pick Dijak over everybody.
Mhm.
I could see him being a legitimate threat to Braun and taking the belt off of him. I don't know that it does him any good. Well, he never won the NXT championship, right?
No,
So
he
that
didn't,
makes
he
a
didn't
ton of
hold any
sense.
gold in NXT. He fought Keith Lee that
Yeah.
banger in Portland, that takeover where
Yeah.
he did that dive onto a
Yep.
sitting Keith Lee, which pops
Amazing.
up every now and then on the feed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
amazing.
but no
So-
gold, no gold.
So I
held.
can absolutely see that happening, and he's got the he yes, that one would make a ton of sense, and that one I can see happening. So if he's the wild card, I'll pick him. Until that happens, I'm picking Carmelo. The other list, it's Roxanne.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. And then finally, I'm really excited. This may be my match for the weekend. Braun Breaker defending his NXT championship against Apollo Crews. Love that Apollo is
Apollo.
getting this shine. Braun goes from facing Von Wagner to Apollo Crews. I would say that's a huge upgrade, and Braun's going to look
Yeah,
even more amazing here because Apollo is fantastic.
yeah, he's incredible.
This match is going to rule. Probably my pick for match of the weekend. Braun definitely retains. No.
It depends if any Nigerian commanders come out.
You had me there. That's
Aziz, was that his name?
where is he?
Commander Aziz? Who cares?
Apollo had a Nigerian
Yeah, the nail.
accent. That's not. Yeah,
Because I don't want to see that.
it is not a Nigerian. What was that? Was that a drum match or Nigerian?
Yes, Nigerian
Yeah,
drum match.
This is my understanding. Is this is a straight up one-on-one?
Yeah, so bad. Well, yeah,
was
because he's
not
gone back to his old gimmick that made sense. Yeah, Breaker. Apollo's gonna make him look amazing, but it'll be Breaker.
Yeah, I agree. Should be fun. Brad, I had a ton of fun. Thank you for being here. I always enjoy us getting to talk about wrestling and so much more. Thank you all for being here, especially if you listened or you're watching to this very moment here at the end. We so appreciate you. You can follow us on Twitter at GIPod19. Brad is at Winduster. I am at Tyler J. McDowell. Don't forget about the team, 19 Media Group at 19M Group. Check out the talented roster, including the wonderful Jess, Carmen, so on and so forth. We, again, are so grateful for you. We hope you enjoyed today, and we look forward to seeing you on the next edition of GI. Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Good Pods, our premier partners, and Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.